What's up guys, welcome back to our channel, and if you're new here, I'm Zay and this is Attila. You guys seem to get that confused a lot in the comments. People think it's the opposite names for some reason. We wanted to make a Q&A video because we quit our jobs exactly 6 months ago to travel the world full time. And we want to share with you what we've learned in those 6 months. We started a YouTube channel, we have gained a little over 14,000 subscribers, and we have a ton of questions to answer that you guys asked. First question. What's your biggest challenge when it comes to traveling?
Well, we would say that our biggest challenge traveling is the actual travel days themselves, because that's when we have basically the most issues. That's the hardest. Like airports specifically are the hardest because you end up going to an airport thinking that you're ready to start traveling, going to your next destination or a destination, and there always seems to be hiccups specifically at airports. But also sometimes when we're taking buses or trains, it's just stressful moving around, and especially with all of our luggage, making sure that we have everything, all our documents and all that. I would say that's probably our most stressful thing while traveling. Is there anything else you can think of?
No, that's probably it. Like the actual travel day is probably the most difficult and anxious, and just you're in a state of panic the whole time. You're like, okay, it's a travel day, let's go. And in line you're waiting to check in, and the whole time we're nervous. We're like, are we gonna get through? Is there gonna be any issues? Yeah.
And almost 100% of the time there's one issue of some sort. Either the bag is overweight a little bit and they're giving us trouble, which has happened once or twice, or we're missing a document, or we have to check in online and we didn't know, or something that we can't even think about before heading to the check-in counter. So we're definitely always nervous when we're pulling up to that check-in counter and asking what's gonna be wrong this time. On to the next question. It is, would you do it again if you can go back in time?
I'm gonna answer this one, and I would say yes, we would do it all over again. We have loved traveling to all the different countries we've been to. We learned so many new things, and I think we've grown as a couple and as people, and it's just been amazing and no regrets, and we've learned a lot of really important lessons, and we would do it all over again 100%.
Yeah, I agree 1000% with Zay's answer, and I don't think I have anything to add except we definitely learned a lot, like she was saying, about all kinds of things, and it definitely did strengthen us as people and our relationship, and we love doing it. Although it is challenging traveling a lot, all over the place, all the time, constantly moving around and living out of hotel rooms and vlogging. We're basically working non-stop making these videos, but we do love it, and we have grown a lot, and we love doing it.
We get this question a lot, especially when we meet people in person. Which place did you guys like the least?
And I think that the answer for this one, unfortunately maybe, is very easy, and it's unanimous between Zay and I, and it is Egypt, because we really had a negative experience when we went to Egypt, and based on what we see on the internet online, a lot of people have the same exact problems. Even big YouTubers with over a million, 2 or 3 million subscribers, have said exactly what we had experienced. It's just basically a lack of order and chaos, to sum it all up, and it's not a pleasant experience going there as a tourist, basically.
Yeah, especially if you're a vlogger and you have camera equipment or you have a drone. There's no drones allowed in Egypt. Our experience was so unorganized. Staff members were fighting with each other because they didn't know the rules properly. They packaged the drone and the batteries up together that aren't supposed to be together. When we tried to leave Egypt, they said that the batteries could not be in the drone box that was wrapped up and taped up, and we couldn't open the drone, and we almost missed our flight because they just have no idea what's going on, and we were standing there begging the guard to let us or open the box so that we could take the separate the things so that we can take the battery in the carry-on and put the drone in the suitcase. And it was just not fun. Being there was just we didn't have fun. It was terrible. You were getting ripped off left and right. You were scared to walk outside with the camera thinking you're gonna get robbed, and it was just not fun.
Yeah, basically when we were in Egypt, we filmed our whole Egypt series on an iPhone, and obviously no drones because it was taken away and it's not allowed, which is fine. And I think that, yeah, if you're a vlogger or if you're filming stuff and posting it, it is harder. So we did have a harder experience because of that, but it wasn't only that. Like Zay was saying, you do get ripped off and just harassed more than any country we've been to so far. It was a little bit extreme, and there's a lot of incompetence when it comes to like officials as well, like she mentioned at the airport and stuff like that. So that's basically our least favorite country and our worst experience we've had so far. How much money did you spend in each country?
I'm gonna answer this one because Attila likes to joke around and call me the accounting department of this channel. I really like finance, and we keep track of every single thing that we do, how much we spend, down to the last penny. We actually have a budget of $100 a day Canadian because we're Canadian. I'm gonna pop it up on the screen so you guys can see what the actual conversion is. But we try to stick to that budget most of the time, and we are pretty good at it. We don't go over budget, and most of the time we stay under budget. The only countries that we had issues staying on budget and went over a little bit was the Maldives, and you guys know why. It's a really expensive place, even though we tried to do it on a budget, and Singapore. It's at par with the Canadian dollar, so it was really hard to stay on budget. But most of the Asian countries, we actually were under budget almost every single day. We're gonna pop up a couple screenshots right now for you guys to see what we spent each day in every country, because we keep track of it like that. But I would say $100 a day over the course of a month or 3 weeks that we spend in each country. We usually don't spend more than $3,000 in each country, but that's not including our plane tickets.
Yeah. And I would say that that budget has worked out really well for us. Like, we have not really limited ourselves at all. We still go out to eat basically every single day. We do choose cheaper options most of the time, and sometimes we do end up treating ourselves a little bit to like a nice fancy rooftop restaurant or something like that. We have done that in the past, and we do sign up for different types of experiences and like adventures and tours. So I wouldn't say that it has limited us. And especially in Southeast Asia, it was pretty easy sticking to the budget, like Zay was saying, because I think like most accommodations have been up to $20, $30 at most, and that left us with a lot. And food is also inexpensive, so I feel like we've had no troubles. And yes, Zay is the accounting department, probably not only for the channel but for the relationship as well. And I always do make the joke, is like, has this been approved by the accounting department or when I'm trying to make a purchase? And yeah, I mean, it's good.
What do you do outside of travel that you cannot think about work? Do you rent? Is it espionage or what?
Well, before we started traveling, we actually saved money by working, and we worked multiple jobs. I was a registered nurse, and Zay works in IT. And not only that, but we also did deliveries, and we also did a whole bunch of other things, such as like flipping items on Facebook Marketplace and Kijiji. And we do have a couple videos, actually some of our very first videos, where we did some like side hustles, and we would actually do a whole bunch of different things, and we saved a lot of money that way, as well as saving from work and not really going out to restaurants at all. We cooked at home most of the time. We only went out like maybe once a month, if that. Some months we didn't even go out, and we saved a lot of money that way.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we saved for 2 years to do this trip, and we planned for 2 years, and basically, yeah.
We also did some investing. We invested in crypto, and when we were up, we sold it, so we got some money from investments as well.
Next question is, since we already answered what was our least favorite country, what is our favorite country so far?
I think this one is unanimous, and I'd like to put a disclaimer that except for Egypt, every country we've been to we have loved and we have had great experiences. But I think the one that stands out the most for us was Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has the most beautiful landscapes, the most diverse landscapes, and it was just amazing and beautiful. The people were amazing. The food was delicious, spicy, but delicious, and it was just something that wasn't on our list of places to travel. We ended up going there just like winging it, and we didn't really know what to expect, and we loved it.
Yeah, I would say Sri Lanka for sure was an amazing time, but I actually don't like getting this question. I don't like getting any question asking me what's my favorite color, what's my favorite this and that, because I like every single country we traveled to except for Egypt. But I mean, we can forgive that, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I had a great time in Vietnam. I'm not gonna even name the countries because I feel like we had a great time most places, and each place has unique things to offer. But like Zay mentioned, I think that Sri Lanka has such a diverse like landscape and everything, foods and everything, that we just loved visiting Sri Lanka a lot.
How many days should you spend in each city?
Well, this one definitely varies, because at least my answer is that you can spend a long time in every city. It depends what you want to see and how much you want to explore, and also which city you're in. But if you're only planning on hitting the main sites, maybe a week or a couple of days, 5 days, 3 days, 4 days could be enough. But I mean, like for example, Bangkok, Thailand, you can spend a long time there and not be able to explore everything. I mean, you can basically move there and live there for a year and not be able to explore everything. But if you're looking to hit the main sites or specific sites that you're interested in, I feel like a week is a good enough time, or sometimes even less depending on the size of the city. And yeah.
Yeah. My sweet spot is, I would say, like 3 to 5 days.
Yeah. How much luggage and suitcases do you have?
I'll answer this one. The funny thing is, before we started the traveling journey, I was gonna bring my own full, like, checked-in suitcase, and Attila convinced me to share a suitcase because it would be harder for us to lug around a bunch of different pieces. So we have one suitcase that we check in, and we have 2 backpacks. One backpack just for like extra clothes or things that we use on like days that we're traveling, or if it's a quick trip, or like when we go hiking. And the second backpack is actually our camera bag, which has all of our camera equipment in it. And the 4th bag is our laptop bag.
Yeah, and Zay also has a purse, which makes 5. And I know that because every single time we get off some kind of transportation, like a bus or a plane or some kind of transportation, we always count our bags, and it has to add up to 5.
Yeah.
And yes, I think that the decision to travel with only one suitcase was really good, and I think Zay will agree with me at this point, because even dragging that thing around, it's heavy, it's large, and we can only imagine having 2 suitcases for a long, like 1-year journey like this would be a lot of things to drag around. So yeah, I think that was a good decision at the end of the day, and I think Zay agrees with that as well.
I don't have as many cute outfits to wear, but yeah, it was definitely a good decision.
Yeah, maybe if we go on traveling for a longer time, we'll add that, or make it like 1 backpack and just 1 t-shirt and 1 pair of pants, and that's it.
Is it easy to shoot with a gimbal?
Well, that question for me is easy. I think it is easy for me to shoot with a gimbal and this camera that we're using to record, because I've been filming and doing photography for such a long time that I mean, I started this when I was 10 years old. I'm 30 now, so I've been doing photography and filming and videography and anything like that for a very long time. And I actually have a bigger gimbal at home, which I use to shoot some events back in Canada, and that one's way bigger. And I found that I can carry that thing around for 8 hours or 10 hours, and it's just like, it feels like nothing to me. It's almost like a part of my body. So I think it is easy for me. But something that I have found is that when we give the gimbal to somebody else who doesn't carry it around, the first thing they say immediately is, "Oh my God, it's so heavy. How do you carry that all day?"
Yeah.
But for me, it's like no problem. Like I can easily carry it for 10, 12 hours and I don't even feel like it's there. Next question is a relationship question. It is a juicy one, and it is traveling full-time a huge strain on your relationship?
Long answer short, yes. A little bit, but not.
Isn't a short answer long? No, you're right. Go ahead.
Yes. Spending literally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every second with somebody, no matter who you are, you will start to get annoyed at each other or tired of each other or on each other's nerves over small little things. Because when you're not traveling, you're spending time with a variety of different people, co-workers, friends, family. So when you see your significant other, you aren't spending every second with them, so you're less likely to get into disagreements or arguments or fights. I would say we don't really get into massive fights and arguments often, but there are moments where we're just like, you can tell that one person's getting a little bit more annoyed than the other. But I would say the more we've traveled together, our relationship's actually gotten stronger. Our communication's gotten better, and we know like how to deal with the other person and when to like kind of just give them their space and like when to have our alone time. And it's just been great, honestly. We've gotten a lot stronger and better and happier, but you do start to feel the effects of spending every second with somebody, like eventually.
And we do spend time together 24/7. Obviously, we have quite literally never spent even an hour apart, I don't think.
Yeah.
And we're usually in small hotel rooms, so that does make it tough. You don't really get your alone time. At least we haven't really separated, like for Zay to go for a walk somewhere alone, especially in some of the countries where we feel it's a little bit unsafe for her to walk around alone or something like that. But for me, I mean, yeah, Zay pretty much summed it up well. I don't think it's been a huge issue, and obviously you will get annoyed at some points, but we've definitely improved our communication quite a bit, so
yeah.
we're doing good, guys.
Who is your favorite travel vlogger?
Well, we have a few people we watch, but I feel like there has been one couple that if you probably know, if you watch our channel, you know their channel as well, because they're a massive channel. It is Kara and Nate, and that's someone who we've been watching and we've been inspired by them way before we started traveling, and we've been watching all of their videos in Canada before we did the traveling, basically like all of their videos, and we still watch them. And there are other channels. We've met some great people along the way as well. We met Evan and Lemon. We love watching their videos. We always yeah, we always keep on track with their videos, and I'm not sure, there's definitely others, but I can't think of them at the moment.
We also watch Lost LeBlanc, and he's more of a cinematic travel channel. We don't watch him as often as we watch Kara and Nate, but he is up there in the top list of people.
And there's definitely more, but I can't think of them at the moment. But there's like some cinematic travel channels and some that are more close to our style, which is like informational and stuff like that. So
what editing software do you guys use?
So I'm going to be answering this question, and we use a variety of software, but for video editing specifically, we use Adobe Premiere Pro, and we also use all of the other Adobe products like Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Lightroom for images. And at the beginning of this trip, I think I did most of the editing, like from beginning to end, but very quickly Zay picked up the program. She learned everything, and I gotta say, I could basically step away 100% now because she could edit a full video and put it out, and I'm extremely proud of her. I mean, she did work in IT, so she's really good with computers, but basically the way we do it now is that when we shoot a video, she will edit all of the video from beginning to end, like the rough cut, putting it all together with everything, like laying all the clips over and everything, and I finish the video by putting the color grading on it and doing the cinematic parts with the music and syncing it. But I mean, Zay could definitely work the software well enough now where she can basically do it all herself.
I wouldn't though, because teamwork makes the dream work.
That's right. And the next question is for our accounting department. It is a financial question, and it asks, how are we able to access our money overseas, and are we able to bypass like ATM fees?
So the answer to that is pretty simple. Before we left Canada, we applied for a credit card. It's called the Scotiabank Passport Visa. And with this credit card, it has no foreign transaction fees. That means we can use this credit card in any country, anytime, and you do not get charged the transaction fee. They do the automatic conversion for you, so you get charged whatever the currency is, and it gets charged in Canadian dollars, and the difference is not huge at all. It's fantastic. It's basically like using your debit card at home. Also, this credit card came with 6 free lounge visits for the entire year, and that's what we've been using to get into lounges all over the place. And for the ATM, we do have a debit card, and we signed up for a specific checking account in Canada before we left, where we would pay $30 a month, and you would be able to withdraw from any ATM with no like fees from the bank. But whatever ATM you withdraw in the country, that ATM does charge you its own fee, but we would not get charged fees from the bank. But after a while, we realized that we weren't really withdrawing a lot of money from our debit, because most of the time we would use our credit card, and if we withdraw money from the ATM, we take out like the highest amount that you can so that we're not withdrawing multiple times. And we figured out that we're paying less in withdrawal fees than we would for the checking account, so we changed it, and now we do pay a $5 fee every time we withdraw money from the debit account, but it's still less than paying the $30 a month to have the account.
Yeah, and we try our best to use cash in every single, not cash, I mean credit in every single country, but some of the countries it's been a challenge because they only accept cash. Most places, I would say, where was that? In Philippines, for example, we couldn't really use our visa everywhere, except if you're going to a fancier, more upscale place, which we don't do very often. So we did have to withdraw more money. And yeah, I mean, it's been a challenge in some countries where Visa is not as widely accepted, or credit cards are not as widely accepted, but we're still doing all right.
We also try to book everything that we can online so that we avoid paying cash for it. Any of the tours, any of our hotel rooms, anything that we can pay for online, we do, or by credit, and we use cash only when mandatory. Do you have tips for people who want to travel long-term in Southeast Asia?
My tip would be to just do it. I think that it can be definitely like very intimidating at first going to Southeast Asia. It's a new place and long-term travel as well. But I think once you get going and once you get through those hurdles, the first couple mistakes you're gonna make, it's actually very easy in my opinion, and you're gonna enjoy it and have a really good time, especially if you're adventurous, you like exploring, trying new foods, experiencing the culture. I think you're gonna have a really good time. So I would say just get over the initial fear and start your trip, and you're gonna love it.
I have a couple tips. If you don't like mosquitoes, bring bug spray and buy bug spray often, because mosquitoes were eating me alive in Southeast Asia because it's mostly like jungles. There's a lot of plants, a lot of greenery, and I literally just got eaten alive with mosquitoes. The other tip would be, they are modest countries, so bring clothes where you're dressing modestly, and you do visit a lot of temples and religious sites, and they won't let you wear tight clothing, revealing your shoulders or your knees, especially for women. And some places, they have the same rules for men as well. But other than that, just go for it.
Yeah. The next question is asking for advice on traveling to a different country with your friends or your significant other.
I'm going to answer this question, and I would say just be sure that you're on the same page about what you want to do. One person might want to do only adventure activities. One person might want to only try the foods and not go out, and one person might want to only go to temples. Or you're going to be with somebody who wants to do all of that, and you don't really want to do any of those things. I would say just make sure you're on the same page and plan everything that you really want to do, or at least get an idea of what you want to do before you head out there, so that you're not kind of just like stuck and disagreeing while you're there and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that it'll definitely bring you closer with whoever you're traveling with, but maybe it might break you up as well, whether it be a friendship or a relationship, because like they said, you have to be on the same page. And I have definitely experienced this with my group of friends before, where I think the more people you add to the mix, the more chances there are of disagreements. Like she was saying, someone might want to do something else and you might not want to do the same thing, and then you're just going to be disagreeing and getting into fights all the time. So before you go, make sure you know the expectations, what your group of friends or your significant other might want to do, and that will definitely make it easier.
Which country would you live in out of the ones you've been to?
This question is quite easy for me, because every time we go to a country, I basically imagine Zay and I living in that country, and I imagine like how it would be raising kids there or having a family. And I would say, like, for me specifically, I'm so like easygoing and I'm so fine with everything that every single country for the most part, except for Egypt, that we've been to, and maybe Sri Lanka right now just because of the economical like hardships they're experiencing, all of the other countries we've been to, I would consider like being a possibility to live in. And that's my answer. What about you?
I agree. Like a lot of the countries we go to, I just like wonder, I'm like, would I live here? Can I live here? The only thing is, if you're not a fan of the heat, you probably wouldn't survive in Southeast Asia or Sri Lanka. But yeah, I would live in any of the countries that we've been to. They were all beautiful. The people are super nice, and we haven't really had such a terrible time somewhere that we wouldn't live there.
That's right.
What type of videos do better than others?
Well, obviously this answer is simple because we can see which videos get more views than the others, and it's two types of videos, and it's basically always our first impressions videos. So once we enter a country, we always make these types of videos. Like the first video we put out in every country is going to be our first impression of whatever, and those seem to do the best. People seem to care about what we think, or just see like, what are they going to say about our country, like especially maybe the locals or others, and that one always does really well. And another type of video that does well is food videos, and I would say we're definitely not a food channel. Like, I'm not good at describing what I'm eating. I'm not good at describing flavors. A lot of times in Southeast Asia, I didn't even know exactly what was in the dish. So we do a food video in every country. We do one of them, and that usually does do well. People love to see you eating and trying different foods, and I myself love watching those types of videos, but it's just like we're not a food channel, but we do love to try the foods, obviously. It's been a jam-packed video so far, and we are coming on to our last question, and that question is, what is one thing that you want to check off your bucket list? That's a great question. I'm not even sure. I don't even have a bucket list, honestly, but I'm not sure. Like visiting different countries like Iceland or maybe New Zealand or something like that. Those are on my bucket list, like just visiting different types of countries. Maybe for Zay it would be bungee jumping or skydiving.
Yeah, skydiving would definitely be on my list of things that I would want to cross off my bucket list. Maybe over somewhere really beautiful, like Switzerland or Norway, like skydiving in Norway, like that would be really cool.
Yeah. For me, that's not on my bucket list because I have found out recently, I always wanted to go skydiving, but Zay took me to like a roller coaster park. I went on a roller coaster for the first time, and I am actually terrified of like being dropped specifically. I'm not really scared of heights, but like jumping or falling or any of that stuff, I'm not interested in. So you probably won't see me bungee jumping or skydiving unless I really push myself and I get over that fear. But that's one of Zay's bucket list items. And yeah, I think it's just like doing different activities, especially ones we haven't done yet, like climbing a volcano, I think would be on our bucket list, that we were gonna do in the Philippines, but we didn't get a chance to do it because the volcano that we were trying to hike was like it's an active volcano, and I think it erupted quite recently and they kind of halted like being able to hike it, so we're kind of sad about that, but we'll definitely be climbing a volcano in the future on this channel, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, I think it's those types of activities.
That is it for the Q&A. If you guys like this type of video, we can definitely do more. I know you guys have a ton of questions. We always get asked a bunch of questions in the comments, and if we can't answer it in the comments, next time we post something, follow us on our Instagram at Attila and Zay, and we will post on our story asking questions to answer in the next video. Please leave a like if you guys love this video, comment if you have any surprising reactions to any of our answers, and subscribe. We will see you guys in the next one.